It's Transformers 96 here, it's another video review. This time we have the Transformers Combiner Wars Vortex from the Combaticons. So yeah, going over this package real fast. Really nice package design. Love the back artwork. It is covered up with a comic though, when this is a mint figure with the nice artwork of Vortex, the character himself. Then you have a picture of him on the back with the copter mode, and then you also have kind of blueprints for Bruticus, as well as the other figures that you'll need to complete him. Alright, so overall, this I would have to say, I don't have Onslaught yet at the time of filming this. I'm sure by the time I post it I will have, he'll have arrived in the mail, but at the time of filming this I don't have Onslaught. However, out of the 4 deluxe figures from the Combaticons, this is my least favorite. I don't like the design as much, and I really don't like the colors. I think that all of these have really nice colors except for Vortex. Vortex just kind of lets down the entire series, or the entire wave, which is really disappointing, I have to say. But just the sculpt of the copter is quite nice. It's really compact, which I think is great, and it really, sometimes with the flight characters, they have some odd proportions where the bottom's really thick, or just things don't fit together so perfectly. They don't compact really nicely like they do most of the time with the car modes. So usually I'm not as into the characters that transform into something that flies. However, I think that this one compacts really nicely. I mean, from the front, just like right here, it is perfect. As you can see, from the bottom, it's all sculpted to look like the helicopter, and from the top, it is just excellent. You get down to this half, and you can have this head flipped around so it doesn't look so bad, but this half is more robot-ish, which is a shame. But from the front there, it's excellent. From the sides, it looks great, and from half of the bottom, it looks fantastic. So overall, I really do like that a lot. The coloring, I like the gray on it. It's a nice simple gray, but it has a bit of a bluish quality to it. And then I like the purple too. The purple is obviously a color that extends itself to all of the Combaticons, so I do like that a lot. The stripe on the side of it, as well as the stripe on the side with the Decepticon symbol, very crisply painted. Really do like the silver, it pops, and that's done on both sides. And then that's about the end of what I like about the paint. I like the black details too. But then we have like this bright yellow, which is disappointing. I would be fine with some yellow highlights on him, but I wish that this was just more than just yellow. Wish that maybe like the rockets themselves were yellow, but the arm was like a gray. I think that would have been much better. Would have made the rockets pop too. And then you have this turquoise color on the top here and at the shoulders, which just looks a bit odd. The head has turquoise, and then there's the red, then just a splash of red, which just doesn't make any sense. It obviously matches his visors a bit, but there's just so little red on this figure. It's like, why did you even include it? Overall, he's just a mash of really bad colors, because he has nice diluted, plain colors like the gray, and then he should have maybe 1 or 2 splashes of color on him, but instead he's got about 4, which is definitely disappointing and really distracts from what could have been a really nice looking figure. But overall, do like this mode a lot. It does have a nice spinning propeller, which is quite cool. Let's get to transforming him. First of all, you're just going to want to unplug the arms, flip up the the rotor, the propeller, and then you can rotate this to the side and bring it up. Let's see, or you know what, first I'm actually going to transform the legs. First of all, with the legs here, it's kind of hard to get in there, but you do want to pop up this top section. There you go. And this top section can attach together, so you can flip those up. Then the cone of the little vehicle there, you split it. You're going to want to rotate it and then peg it into the side. As you can see, it's got a little triangle peg there and a little triangle hole on the side where it can be pegged in. And then split the entire thing. Now this, all of these Combaticons have the same type of design feature here with the legs, where the legs condense in a really nice way. It's pegged into the top right there on both sides, as you can see. So you unpeg all that, and then you can extend the legs, which I think is a really nice little way to transform and condense the legs. I think that is quite cool. You want to line it up so the pegs are this way, so that you can peg them right in, and that kind of just locks them in place. And then you can rotate the entire assembly, and then split the legs. And I split the leg at the thigh too. It's on a ball joint though, so it just pops right back in. Or it should. There we go. Alright, you can just put the arms down, and then the back, just unpeg this. Having trouble with this back piece. I'm afraid that if I go too hard, I'm going to break something. Hold on, let me get that real fast. Alright, sorry about that, it was quite a bit tight. So basically with this, you're going to unpeg it, swing it down, and then it just will peg right into his back there. And then with this, what I like to do is, it's supposed to be, condense the propellers like this. Just, you can straighten it out, flip them up here, and I just like to kind of trap them in there. And then this is kind of how you're supposed to leave it, but I do like to push it up a bit more, just so that it keeps the propellers trapped there, so that they don't, flop around. So overall, there he is, transformed. And without talking about the paint, just the robot mode itself is pretty decent. He's quite a bit thin. I like the head sculpt a lot, though. And then he does have a bit of a mess going on in the back here, but it's all very sharp stuff. It looks like stuff that could be sticking out of his back, so that's quite nice. It doesn't look like vehicle mode parts, basically. So although he does have a bit of stuff on his back, it all looks like it fits there. Color wise, again, that's where I have the biggest complaint about this figure. I think the colors just look really bad. You start off with the nice gray, some black highlights, some purple highlights, perfect. You want to add a splash of yellow in there, or turquoise, pick one of those, and that would be fine. But it's obviously they have the gray as the first section, and then they have splashes of black, purple, red, yellow, and turquoise, and that just kind of lets it all down. It makes him very colorful in certain places, and in other places he's quite muted. So it's a bad contrast, and I'm not too into it. So overall, the paint, he becomes a mess with the paint. And considering the other figures in this wave have all pretty muted colors with just splashes of color here and there, he just really stands out in a bad way. So I'm not too happy with this color scheme of this Vortex at all. Figure-wise itself, it's fine. It's nothing too fantastic, however, it's good, but when you add in all the splashes of color, that's when this figure definitely lets you down. I like the fact that he does have the missiles on his arms. I think that looks very cool. But like I said, if the missiles were just painted and then the rest of the arm was painted gray, that would look excellent. You could really tell that these were missiles, but instead, it almost looks like, just from some angles, that he just has, some sharp stuff hanging off of his arm. He does come with a gun. Obviously, he comes with a gun that can be transformed into a foot or hand of Bruticus. I'll be speaking about that in Bruticus's review. But as you can see, he does come with a solid gun here, like the bullets that are sculpted on the side. However, there's no paint on it. It's all just a flat gray. But overall, looks nice, and he can hold it with two hands basically too. So I do like the weapon that he comes with. Articulation on him, pretty good, pretty standard for Transformers here. He's got a ball jointed head, which works quite nicely and can be, put back quite a decent amount. He's got ball hinge shoulders with a swivel at the elbow and a hinge. No wrists. He has a waist swivel, as you can see. It is a bit hard. Like, there's a bit of a notch there that kind of just pegs it into the middle, so it does become a little bit hard to swivel that sometimes, and the propellers can get off. He's got a ball jointed thigh with a thigh swivel, hinge knees, and then no ankle. I mean, you can say that he's got an ankle hinge basically that only goes down, but obviously that's just for transformation. So overall, articulation is pretty standard on him. Paint is really bad, and sculpt is pretty good. So that's just my opinions. This is definitely the weakest of the set for me. I definitely wouldn't have got this figure if it wasn't because he's a part of a team, and he's obviously a member of Bruticus, which makes him completely necessary. Comparing him to the other figures in this assortment, here you have Swindle, Brawl, as well as Blastoff. So as you can see, all pretty, muted colors with some splashes of color in them. And the splashes of color, there's only a few. With Blastoff here, he's got a nice brown color with some purple and then slight details of yellow. And then with Swindle here, he's all yellow with some purple and slight details of, light blue. And then same thing with Brawl there. They're all very muted colors, and there's not a whole lot going on. But with Vortex, it's a nice flat color, and then there's just the rainbow just threw up on him, really not great. So I'm just not a big fan of this paint scheme, as I've said multiple times in this review, but figure-wise he's pretty decent, and obviously he is needed if you want to build Bruticus or just complete the Combaticon team. So there you go, that's my review of Vortex. Let me know what you guys think of this figure, and thanks so much for watching.